Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. So good to be here today. Back with another reaction. Cocomelon, the most evil channel on YouTube.
My son is almost 2 and I've been letting him watch Cocomelon, but now I had to get him speech therapy so I can get him to talk. The Cocomelon show is so insanely addictive, it's being compared to nicotine and causing developmental issues amongst the kids who can't stop watching. Firstly, there's the colors. Take for example the wheels on the bus. The 3 main colors, blue, green and yellow, are all at maximum saturation, meaning they cannot be made any brighter no matter how hard you try.
I don't know how true this is. I'm just reacting as I'm listening because I don't know what to think. You hear a lot of things and you just decide on which one you think is right. It is really kind of interesting how people look at some stuff and take a deep dive into it and try to break it down into things that you feel like, oh wow, is this true? Questioning yourself. This is kind of interesting with all the colors and all. I just don't know what they're getting at here.
Cocomelon's also different because it's highly repetitive. There's a reason they have 38 videos with over 1 billion views. A child's brain is wired to learn through repetition, so it feels right to them to watch the same thing over and over again. Cocomelon abuses this in almost every video. For example, in the Yes Yes Playground song, they pick a word to repeat 3 times in every sentence, pairing it with a subtly repeating background lullaby, keeping children hooked.
Listening to it and I'm reading it, I'm kind of, okay, maybe with the soundtrack as well, it's making me feel a little bit scared if this is actually damaging to children. I'm looking at this and actually I've noticed, because sometimes I come across Cocomelon, they come up with lots and lots and lots of new songs. Not like new songs, it's repetition actually. They could decide to do Old MacDonald and decide to mention other things. So it's like there's nothing new coming up. It's like a repetition. The blink, 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 blink. I don't know, but that's the way the song is sung. So I don't know if there's a pattern they're following, but I have noticed that with them, there's no new song. We just kind of repeat and repeat the older songs and then maybe change some of the words and all that. And I feel like it's actually boring for me. I'm actually glad my daughter doesn't really pay much attention to this at all. She's not like so much into Cocomelon. Maybe once in a while you could just watch, but not her favorite show.
The second it's on the TV, he turns into a toddler zombie who doesn't see or hear anything else that's going on in the room. People have argued that they're teaching exactly what children shouldn't do. For example, in the No No Bedtime song, the baby refuses to brush his teeth, have a bath, put on pajamas or get in bed. The education is that he eventually agrees to do so, yet a TikTok user was critical, stating, "Anytime I'd ask my son to do a simple task, he'd say no, 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 which taught him to say no to me." On the topic of education, Jerica Sand stated, "These people don't give a shit about our children. They care about money."
What I feel is that it's what you feed a child with that the child actually eats. Give a child certain food, that's what the child is going to eat. So if a child is watching Cocomelon, definitely will be acting according to what she sees on the screen or what she pays attention to. The no, 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 no. Yeah, I've actually noticed that as well. The child like refusal to do certain things, even though I've also heard some other parts where they say yes, yes, yes as well. So I don't know why they actually like concentrating on the no, no, no. A child would want to pick certain shows on television. You as a parent would actually guide the child if you feel like this is not the best show for my child. I'm actually getting more into it and it's kind of interesting on people's comments and everything here.
A New York Times journalist visited Cocomelon's studio, discovering their #1 focus is keeping children hooked. Cocomelon's data and analytics team sifts constantly through YouTube numbers to determine exactly what resonates. Should the bus be yellow or red? Yellow is the answer, as they use a darker method to ensure that they're correct. Cocomelon has a dedicated Distractatron room in which once a month children are brought here one at a time and shown a handful of episodes to figure out exactly which parts of the shows are engaging and which are tuned out. Next to the TV playing Cocomelon, there's a second screen which plays a continuous loop of banal real-world scenes. A guy pouring a cup of coffee, someone getting a haircut, each lasting about 20 seconds. Whenever a youngster looks away from the Moonbug show to glimpse the Distractatron, a note is jotted down. We can see what they're looking at and the exact moment when they got distracted. Therefore, education clearly isn't the primary goal. Keeping kids' attention is, and this is proven by Cocomelon's most addictive element. It's crazy how many times the frame changes on Cocomelon. It's the same type of addicting behavior that we experience on a TikTok binge. It's the quick change of frame that releases that dopamine and makes the videos addicting to watch. 96% of the shots in Baby Shark were shorter than 2 seconds, which when combined with every other element, creates some terrifying statistics. Dr. Kristen Summer explained that when showing an infant normal video content, they'll focus on the screen just 11% of the time. However, when the video is instead switched to Cocomelon, their screen engagement skyrockets to a whopping 74%. Nothing shows the addiction better than the Cocomelon TikTok trend. Parents will play the show's intro loudly and video their kids sprinting toward the television, where you can witness their mood change instantly.
Listening to it, it's actually sounding like scary with the way the person is explaining and everything. One thing I might want to say is I don't think it might just be Cocomelon alone. Every child would have his or her favorite TV show. I feel like it doesn't really matter how it's recorded or how the color is or how many seconds. I just feel like they all have their favorite shows, and the more they watch it, the more they're just glued to it and they're distracted, and you can't even get them to do things that you want them to do. I don't know if just Cocomelon does this to children or other TV shows for kids also do the same. Saying just Cocomelon is a bit surprising and scary as well.
Cocomelon is so hyper-stimulating that it actually acts as a drug, and what happens when you take the drug away. Young children experiencing symptoms of addiction and withdrawal, obviously leaving them completely dysregulated. TikTok user ThePoff1 filmed what happens when you take the show away, explaining he'll be inconsolable for at least 10 to 15 minutes after, adding in the description Cocomelon meltdown is legit. Once you have a taste of the cocoa, it's hard to break the addiction. After these tantrums end, kids can experience a general discomfort in the speed of everyday life. The more they watch the show, the more their brain begins to expect this intense level of stimulation. The potential consequences get much worse than this. As mentioned at the start, it was the cause of a child's speaking problems, with a notable reply reading, "Same thing happened with my daughter too. She's 4 but can't speak properly. She knows the words, but she does not like to frame the sentence or speech. She has been watching these Cocomelons or such other stuffs for 2 or 3 years. Hope we're not too late."
The main problem with watching videos on the internet is that they don't know how to use the language that they learn.
But he adds that 4 to 5 hours of screen time per day can make a toddler completely non-verbal. 4 to 5 hours is obviously a lot of time, but in Cocomelon Made My Kid a Zombie, researchers discovered that 5-year-olds who watch more than 2 hours of TV a day tended to have lower attention spans and were 7.7 times more likely to show symptoms of ADHD. Sierra Renee explained, "My 2-year-old is speech delayed and addicted to Cocomelon. Switched to Miss Rachel 2 days ago and he's already saying more words and hasn't had any tantrums." Kim.it shared an almost identical anecdote. "My 8-month-old was obsessed with Cocomelon and having bad tantrums, so I cancelled Cocomelon and only let her watch Miss Rachel, and she said her first word within the first 3 days of watching." Cocomelon has actually responded to the criticism that explain our shows are not intended to replace outdoor playtime or playdates. They have a place in children's entertainment time, and as with food, exercise, etc., it comes down to each parent to find the right and appropriate balance for their children. Our responsibility is ensuring that the quality of the content that we produce is high and beneficial for the development of a child's cognitive and soft skills. It is worth adding that our social media communities are filled with stories of parents who experience firsthand how Moonbug content helps their children. "My baby learned the alphabet and numbers from Cocomelon. She may not speak a complete sentence, but she expresses her wants through phrases." But is it Cocomelon's responsibility to ensure that babies are talking? Well, no. People love blaming cartoons and games for raising children, and not the shitty parents that don't step in to stop them from watching so much. Cocomelon is actually a really sad symbol of parents giving their children tablets instead of actually parenting and interacting with them. Ultimately, parents are the people who choose how much their child consumes.
Wow, that was a lot, man. My eyes were so glued listening to everything. How people analyze shows for kids and all that is amazing and scary at the same time, because once you get to listen to all these things, you kind of start picking one or two things as well, what your children should watch, what they shouldn't watch, and also it's really, really scary. I feel what you train your child with is what the child will definitely watch. What you want them to watch is what they'll watch. They might throw tantrums the first few days and all that, but they definitely would go according to your direction and your lead. So actually, I went through some of the comments to see what parents and people have to say about this video and what they think about Cocomelon as well. The 90s was the golden era of children's show. We were entertained, educated, and incited to be creative at all the same time. Matter of fact, this is actually so true. I remember growing up in Africa, Nigeria, and I can't remember actually watching any shows like Cocomelon showing more on the TV in the 90s, because in Africa, we really don't have that luxury or opportunity to watch all those shows. I could remember watching something called the Voltron, Defender of the Universe, and Tom and Jerry. I was really, really interested in Tom and Jerry, even though it was like so fun and entertaining towards then. At that time, I think it was so different and the world was different at that time as well. So I totally agree with this. I find it concerning that so many people are raising iPad kids. They probably don't even talk to their children. And now Mrs. Rachel, it says Mrs. Rachel, is out here expected to raise them. This just seems so bizarre. Yeah. Matter of fact, it's true. Lots of children would actually prefer to play on their iPads. Even though I know kids learn a lot from their iPads because they get to explore so many things. But at that as well, a child should have its limit. Parents should also know when to take off the screen time, to take off the iPads from their kids, just to have one-on-one time with their children. Have a playtime with your child, not just to have the iPad and all, because it's alarming when you go out to see how many kids are holding the iPad. They don't even concentrate on you. You talk to them and they're like all glued on it. I don't think it's just the shows on the TV. It's that particular gadget they hold. It's taking away all the time and all. Different times for different things. Time to eat, time to sleep, time to play, time to watch TV. But I think the iPad takes away all their time. I think this all boils down to parents. Give a timetable to your child. Set rules, set parental locks on their iPad. It's a very, very good app actually. I guess this is true. Miss Rachel has actually been doing a good job, I would say. Some of her episodes are really very educative as well and very good for children. I really kind of enjoy sometimes watching it because I just sit to watch with my child. I need to know what they're watching. What is she watching? What is she hearing? And then ask questions to see, especially when it comes to kids show on the TV. That's the biggest problem, LOL. It's not Cocomelon. I also remember this sort of talk about SpongeBob. It's causing our kids to have ADHD because it moves so fast for their brains. And I don't think I've ever watched SpongeBob. I've seen it while scrolling through channels and shows, and I don't think my kids actually have ever watched or taken the time to sit and watch SpongeBob as well. Like I say, it's not just Cocomelon. I think most kids would have their own preference. Once they're addicted to a certain show, it would do the same thing I think Cocomelon does. Just my own little opinion. Man, I'm so glad I grew up watching Tom and Jerry. Yeah. I tried introducing Tom and Jerry to my child. She found it quite interesting as well, looking at the cats and the mouse, chasing each other and all that. There's always a story behind every episode you watch. It's quite interesting and entertaining as well. It was actually a very good time. My 2-year-old brother looks away from the screen when Cocomelon is usually on. He will watch it for like 19 minutes and then look away, playing with his toys. Now, this is the blood I need my offspring to inherit. Yeah, like I said, every child has his own preference. Some would prefer to read books, some would prefer to play with toys, some would prefer to play with the iPad and watch different things. And it all boils down to parents. Like I always say, the parent can actually direct the child on what to watch. If the child is directed on what to watch, he or she would follow that part, because their brain at this time is like a sponge that soaks in anything you tell them. So it's quite easy for you to kind of direct them. Initially, it might prove difficult, throw tantrums and all that, but they definitely know this is what my mom wants, this is what is right, this is what is wrong. They get to know at that time, this is what they don't want me to do, this is what they want me to do. I actually would like such a blood as well. You watch something and you know your limit, this is enough. Anyway, let's go to the next comment. At least some parents know the dangers of letting a YouTube series babysit a child instead of raising the children themselves. Yeah, sometimes parents can be easy or doing something else and then let their child watch everything on the TV just to keep them occupied while they are doing their stuff. But I feel these children actually need our time, play with them, be with them, interact with them, and do other activities with them, because without that, they'll definitely be glued to the television or to the screen or to the iPad or whatever they find interesting. It's actually good to have family time, the bonding and everything. So it will just improve the child. Actually, this person is actually so correct. Parents know that, but sometimes I guess it's just overwhelming. You just want to have a time and then you use television to babysit your children, which is causing more harm than good, which is absolutely so true. There's so many other comments with parents talking of different shows and everything. It all boils down to you as a parent to be able to train your child the way the child should grow. So when the child is older, he or she will not depart from it. The direction you lead your child, that's where the child will go. You hold the child's hand and you're leading the child forward. But if you let the child go, definitely the child will do whatever he or she wants to do. Parenting is difficult, but you try to have fun while doing it. It's not easy. With children, you get to learn every day. You teach them from the start, from the scratch, and not let some television series or screen dictate how they talk, how they understand, and how they speak and everything. There's always a limit to everything. Too much of everything is actually bad. This is actually so eye-opening. Let me know what you all think in my comment section. Do you think Cocomelon is a fault, or do you think it's the parents, or do you think it's just all the shows and how a parent should train a child? Please do let me know in my comment section. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you all in my next video. From me, it's bye. Stay blessed.